Hello, 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 and welcome to day 2 at Full Circle 2024. I'm Pallavi Dhodi.
And I'm George Koutanaris. We are absolutely delighted to have all of you with us today in the second act of Full Circle. We designed Full Circles especially for small and one-person marketing teams that want the right size advice to punch above their weight.
And yesterday, we had over 200 of you tune into the sessions, and we're absolutely thrilled to see so many familiar faces from yesterday and also have some new marketer friends join us today. So while we give it a couple of minutes for people to join in and settle down, let's get the chat warmed up. So go ahead and tell us in the chat if you were here yesterday, drop us a heart emoji. And if you're just tuning in today for the first time, drop us a star emoji. Let's get started.
I'm seeing a lot of hearts on the stage.
Oh, nice to have some newbies too.
Yep. Okay, Caroline, thank you so much for being here again. Also, Chelsea, Megan, Lila, am I saying your names right? I'm sorry if I'm absolutely massacring them. Lila, Adesh, thank you for joining us at day 2, and we hope it's going to be super duper fun. All right, we're going to let people keep dropping their hearts and their stars as they join in. And I will, in the meanwhile, get us started with today's event.
All right, fantastic. Pallavi, maybe we should introduce ourselves. Reintroduce ourselves to those who weren't here yesterday.
Absolutely.
Why don't you kick us off there?
Okay, sure thing. So for those of you who missed all of my notes and my shameless plugs on LinkedIn these last couple of weeks, I'm the founder of Draft, where we help growth stage B2B companies create content that's aligned with their GTMs without using words like supercharge and unlock.
And I'm one half of the B2B Playbook. The B2B Playbook, it's a learning resource for marketers with my co-founder, Kevin Chen. He and I, we document and share our frameworks for B2B marketing, and we get to chat with some great marketing minds every month. We also run the B2B Incubator, which is a demand gen training program that's helped hundreds of marketing teams become revenue drivers for their business, and links to learn more about both of us are in the chat. And on that note, let's get this show started.
Okay, let me quickly walk everybody through what we've got in store for you on day 2. We're now in track 3 of the conference. Track 3 is focused on distribution strategies. And for this particular track, we've got 3 fantastic sessions lined up for you. The first one being capturing Mindshare with a video-first distribution strategy. That's our first session with Lindsay McGuire. Then we've got a panel with Rohit Srivastav and Justin Rowe about thought leadership and some horror stories there. Then we're going to go into community building and leveraging community for distribution with Lais de Oliveira. Following that, we will go into track 4, which is the final track for Full Circle 2024. And we're going to be speaking with Sairam Krishnan about how not to measure your startup's marketing. And then Branka Ballot is going to be talking to us about scaling your marketing team. So that's our agenda for day 2. But George, some quick housekeeping for everybody.
Yeah, just quickly. Everyone, please use the chat as much as possible. This is your event. Ask the speakers any and all questions. Talk to us, talk to each other. There was some great engagement yesterday, and looking forward to even more today. For a lot of the sessions today, you're also going to find additional resources that the speakers have curated for you. You'll be able to access them in the tab on your event panel. It's about 4 or 5 icons below the chat icon. It's a little document. So click that and you'll get the resources. And then, of course, all sessions are going to be recorded. We'll be sending the recordings over to you all by the end of during the conference days. You'll also be able to watch replays of past sessions directly in the event reception.
Okay, fantastic. All right, before we kickstart our first session, here's a special thank you to our sponsor, Lead Feeder. Used by over 80,000 marketers and sales folks, Leadfeeder is a GDPR compliant tool that helps marketers turn anonymous website visitors into company names. With Leadfeeder, marketers like you can hand off prioritized, high quality leads to sales, something that they're always looking for. See what traffic sources bring target companies to the website and optimize content for your ICPs. And you can sign up for a free trial using the link in the chat that George is just dropping there for you.
All right, there it is. Well, I guess without further ado, we'd now like to kick off and start our first session and introduce you to our first speaker, who is already on screen, Lindsay McGuire. Lindsay runs content and campaigns at Goldcast and spends her days creating content around how B2B marketers can use video as a powerful brand and business growth driver, fueled by webinars and events. And today, she's going to be talking to us about a video first distribution strategy, something I'm super interested in and very passionate about. I'm sure you all will be too. And that includes why video is the best way to engage with your audience, how to integrate video throughout the customer journey, and ways to simplify video production, distribution, and of course, repurposing. Lindsay, thank you so much for being here with us today. Now over to you, if you wouldn't mind saying hello and sharing your screen.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm going to get my slides up and running and we are going to get started. Really excited to be the very first session today. That's an exciting moment for me. So I'm going to be talking about how to capture mindshare with a video first distribution strategy. So as they shared with you, my name is Lindsay McGuire. I am the Associate Director of Content and Campaigns at Goldcast. If you're not familiar with Goldcast, we are an AI-powered video platform that allows you not only to record your source video content like webinars, virtual events and summits and podcasts, customer interviews, but also then use that source video content to fuel your entire content strategy. So I'm here today to talk a little bit about video, but why video is essential to all marketing strategies going forward. And a big part of that is the capturing mind share. And I want to kind of set the stage of why that is important, what I mean when I say capturing mind share. I think we've all probably heard the stat that only 5% of your addressable market is actually in market to buy your tool or your service. And that means 95% are out of market, are not looking to buy, are not actually starting to consider you in their tool sets to add into their tech stack or their services. And so that is why capturing mindshare is such an important thread to keep in mind throughout this presentation, is because video is the way that you're going to be able to capture mindshare in that 95% of the market that isn't ready to buy, but at some point, they might become ready to buy. And when that moment happens, you want to be in that subset that they are going to look further into. Because if you take up mindshare in your audience from the get-go, you're more likely to get into that consideration set when they turn into that 5% that's buying. So that kind of sets the stage on the mindshare part of it. And then I'm going to get more into the video first distribution strategy. But first and foremost, let's kind of just go over the key takeaways I'm about to dive into. So first, we're going to talk why video. Why is video important? Why does it matter? Why should it be part of your strategy if it is only a small part, or maybe it's not even any part of your strategy right now? Video can seem intimidating. It can sound costly. It might seem that you need a large scale team, big budget, resources, but there are lots of strategies you can use if you don't have those things accessible. And I'm going to share some of those too. And again, we're going to talk about building a video first distribution strategy, what that is, what it looks like, what strategies you can use for that. And then once you kind of know what that video first distribution strategy is, I'm going to share 10 short form video formats to try, most of which you could literally leave today's session and record yourself for the most part. And then the last, I'm going to review a video distribution play we've run here at Goldcast, which had a 35% conversion rate. So hopefully it all sounds great and exciting to you. So, this is all about video. And also, spoiler alert, you're actually on a video right now, just FYI there. Yes, webinars and virtual summits and virtual events are actually video content. Surprise, surprise. But you are going to hear a lot from me today. So, I want to bring in some perspectives from a few other marketers. So, these videos were all captured during HubSpot's inbound conference on the floor. We did a woman on the street interview series called Hot Takes. And a few of these dig into the purpose and importance of video. And so let's see first what Mark of Authority B2B has to say about the importance and impact of video.
Do you think is going to happen with video in the next 6 to 12 months?
Video is one of the great things, and one of the things that you're seeing platforms like LinkedIn really cue in more into for a really specific reason. The 1,200 words that you can get across in a written piece of content, you can communicate in under 60 seconds of video. And a big thing that I always see on LinkedIn is people will come for your content, they return for your personality. And when you think about, we have this hierarchy at Authority B2B called like Maslow's hierarchy of B2B, right? So as opposed to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, like what you need, people need to know you, like you, and then trust you. You can't jump from not know you to trust you. What you really need to do is you need to build those first two levels, and video is one of the best ways to do it.
So I want to point out what Mark talks about in that is that he talks about getting people to know you, because you can't have people like you or trust you unless they know you. So think back to that Mindshare theory I was talking about. Video is the best way to capture that mind share of your audience because it's an easy way to get your face, your brand, your message out to people quickly, easily, concisely, and to be able to replicate it over and over again. Again, George talked about the video repurposing. That's a huge part of winning mindshare out in the market is by taking some longer form video content and then repurposing it across your channel so that you can win that mindshare. So next, let's hear from Josh from HeyGen. And Josh actually works at a video tool. So his opinion is pretty interesting, maybe not surprising.
Do you think
Oops, sorry.
it's going to happen?
Oh, why is my slide?
Or
There
just
we
on
go.
your mind as you're beginning to plan out 2025 for HeyGen? What do you think are going to be the things that you are investing in and putting kind of your eggs in the basket for?
Yeah, for us, I mean, I'm self-serving a bit. Video is a big thing for us. Like, I lead community and education, so I want video infused through all of our customer experiences because people respond to video. They don't want to read, or if they want to read, it's after they've watched a video. So I want to really make sure that that's part of the experience that they get to have, whether it's short form, long form, something that will really capture their attention.
And what do you think is going to change in video next year? Because I think we're all betting on video, but what do you think is going to change from probably what we've been doing the last few years going into the next 2 years?
Yeah, sadly, I think videos are going to continue to need to get shorter because people's attention span is very short. Consuming on mobile devices is only going up, and those are usually in between moments, which means the videos have to be really short and punchy. So I see that being a big trend moving forward.
And what I take away from Josh's perspective here about video is that video allows you to present your content to your audience in a format that they want to engage with. So some people might be readers, some people might be listeners, some people might be watchers. And so being able to repurpose your content across video and audio and text allows your audience to engage with your content in the way of their choosing. And you're not just offering a single source that may or may not be their preference. So finally, we're going to end this with a short video from Megan over at Typeform.
Do you think video is having such a moment and continuing to gain momentum and grow? You know, we've seen LinkedIn finally somewhat seems like roll out the video tab to a multitude of users. So why video? Why now?
You know, we want to have those personal connections. People crave that connection from other human beings. And I think the video is a really good way to still have that personality, but still be able to be accessible. Really, you get that FaceTime with somebody, and that's so important.
So Megan really set me up here well for my kind of next slide and next transition into this of why video. So Megan pointed out that video is authentic. It's a way to build relationships, and it's a way to kind of humanize your brand. So video is the way to be authentic in the market. We've heard this before. I'll say it again. People buy from people, right? Regardless of your B2C, B2B, people buy from people. So aligning real people to your brand brings a new level of authenticity to your brand, to your marketing, to your messaging. So the more that you can use your employees out in the market on video, the more authentic your brand is going to feel and the better relationships you're going to build, because your audience is then going to know people within your brand. Now, it's not just Goldcast. It's like, oh, Lindsay at Goldcast or Kelly at Goldcast or Anon at Goldcast. Next, video resonates. So we've seen through research that video content is more memorable. That's a hard word to say. So research shows that video recall is much stronger than text. So research has shown that after reading text, you can maybe memorize or remember about 10% of it. But if you watch a video, you can remember upwards of 90% of the content. That is huge. That's massive, because that is part of winning Mindshare, is having that resonance, having that reach, and having people remember your content, remember your brand, and remember your people. Also, video stops the scroll. I probably don't need to tell you this in the audience, but LinkedIn users spend a whopping 3 times longer watching videos compared to reading static content. And we all know that LinkedIn is leaning hard into video. So if you're not using a video first distribution strategy, you are losing tons of reach, tons of impressions, tons of engagement. And then last but not least, video makes people buy. 95% of B2B buyers say video plays a critical role in the buying process, according to Bright Cove. And so, like I said at the beginning, think about it. Once some of that 95% starts transitioning over into that 5%, if you have used video to win that mind share of your audience over, and like Mark said, you've built that trust and that likability through video once you're known, then that's going to make you much more likely to be in that consideration set when that person's actually at the table to buy and to consider your solution. So let's now get into the idea of a video first distribution strategy. What do I mean when I say video first distribution? So some of you might be thinking this means that all of your campaigns now have to be video focused, video first, all about video. And that's not necessarily right. Yes, I definitely believe that some of your campaigns should be video first and should be built around video as the core concept, the core campaign piece. But when I talk about a video first distribution strategy, it's really talking about the idea that every campaign you run should have a video asset or a video component that you're using as a promotional tactic, as a messaging tactic, as a reach tactic to get people to engage with whatever that content asset is. So it could be that you're running a campaign and that conversion point is signing up for a newsletter, or it might be that you're running a large scale virtual summit like this you're watching right now. It could be that you're running a campaign to launch a new ebook or guide or some kind of gated quiz or asset. It's kind of endless on what the campaign conversion piece could be or is. But the idea of video first distribution is that whatever it is that you are trying to get people to and to get people to consume, you are creating videos that you can put out in the market to capture that intention, to get those people to know you, like you, trust you, and then come back for whatever that big kind of star on top piece of content is that you're promoting in your campaign. So here are just a few ways that you can lean into a video first distribution strategy. So first is to use webinars. So webinars give you endless video clips to use across your campaign. So if you have a campaign that's running for, a month or even more than a month, consider adding a webinar into your campaign at the front end of your campaign too, so you can capture content that aligns with your campaign and then be able to snip that content up and redistribute it out across your social media and email nurtures and blog posts. It's really endless of all the places you can then use that video content to then promote, hey, if you like this content, you want more, go access our new report or whatever that kind of conversion piece is. Next is to embed employees in your processes. Employees can help you scale video so quickly, but the thing is, you need to identify your video champions. So, who in your organization are already either over on TikTok crafting videos, on their Instagram, putting up reels, have a YouTube channel, figure out who is comfortable with video, who likes video, enjoys it, and tap into those people. Get them involved in the videos you're crafting. And like I said, I'm going to share 10 short form videos here in just one moment so you can have some ideas of what to present to them. Third is you need to find the right tools, especially if you're a small team. You're probably thinking, video's great, but it takes a lot of effort to make video. And I'm here to bust that myth a little bit. Yes, there are certain types of videos and type of video content that do require a larger budget, a larger team, things like that. But for the most part, video is so accessible now. And a big part of that is due to the technology you can add to your tech stack. As I go through those 10 short form types of videos, I will share some video tools with you that can make this easier. But I just want to lay out the land that it doesn't have to be overcomplicated or overproduced. Think about that idea of authenticity. Video is authentic. It's a way to connect with your audience face to face in a more humanistic way. So keep that in mind. We don't have to be perfect when we're on video. Actually, people probably prefer that you're not as authentic or as polished, because we're in the age of AI too, right? And there are some AI avatars out there who can just say and do whatever you want them to. And now we'll know it's a real human because you're not 100% polished and perfect. And then the last piece of this video first distribution strategy is to rely on repurposing. So let's take a moment and think, do you have videos in your Google Drive or Dropbox or whatever file management tool you use that are just sitting there? Think about it. Maybe you have webinar recordings or podcast recordings, or you have customer interviews, or there's all sorts of video content that's likely sitting in your drive, just screaming to be used. And there's likely that whatever campaign you're running, let's say you have a campaign around ABM, it's likely that one or more of those videos have pieces that talk about ABM, and you can then repurpose and redistribute and use as a channel to then promote this new campaign with just a little bit of polish and a little bit of adjusting and branding and things like that. So take a moment to think about the video content you might already have. Feel free to drop it in the chat if there's something you're thinking about, like, oh yeah, I need to repurpose XYZ. I would love to know kind of what long form video content you might have that you want to repurpose. So now we're going to jump into the 10 short form videos to try. These are all the types I'm going to run through and kind of just give a little bit of context on each one, how to make them, what it takes to make them, and some additional tools and tips. So first is self-recorded skits. I think these are the things that people automatically think of when they think about short form video, right? So this is simply writing a script, then grabbing your phone and recording a 30 to 60-second video. Feel free to grab a second or third person to help you with this, add in some diversity of your video. And then also, if you're worried about like, oh, I don't know how to write a script, 2 tips here. Steal from someone. Go out into the market, find a video you think is really cool, tweak it a little bit so it's at least net new content. You're not actually 100% stealing, and then replicate that from there, right? Find creative inspiration from others in the market, or use AI. Turn to your favorite AI tool and do some prompting, and it can help you figure out a great script to use. And if you want more tips about this, we actually had Ramley John over here on our episode of our Goldcast Insider series. And his episode was bite-sized video tactics to use across the customer journey. And he drops all sorts of tips and hints and tricks of how to make these kind of videos easier to produce. We'll be sure you get these slides so you can access that link. Next is webinar clips. So like I talked about in that video first distribution strategy slide, webinars are an endless gold mine of content to reuse and repurpose to then have a video first distribution strategy with your campaign. If you do run webinars, you likely have I think the stat is most companies, and this is from our webinar benchmark report, most companies are running at least 2 webinars a month, which means you have likely anywhere from 20 to 24 webinars that are sitting in your video files, right? And those are chock full of great snippets, great moments, likely topics that align with whatever net new campaign you're running. So don't think you have to go and create all this net new content, right? You likely have video content from things like webinars or podcasts that you can then repurpose and reuse in whatever campaign that you're currently running. So a tip here is to find tools like Goldcast Content Lab, which is our video repurposing tool, takes your video source content and allows you to snip it into video clips, use it to write blog posts, social media posts, those kind of things. And then on the video side, you can use tools like that to format into different layouts, templates, formats, add branding, add styling. So for instance, this clip comes from our content resurrection event. So it's branded in that spooky, scary style because it's during Halloween. But if I wanted to use a clip from this, I could easily come to the tool, reformat it, revive it so that it aligns with my new branding. Because probably in December, I don't want to be sharing things that are spooky and, grave-like references. Next is screen recordings. I think people forget that this is actually a video type. So screen recordings are pretty super easy to do. All you need to do is craft a 3 to 5 minute script that walks through a product feature or use case and then screen record a walkthrough. You can choose to be on or off camera as you record the voiceover. And you can also choose if you actually script it out from the beginning or if you just start recording and you go from there. And I will say too, you don't need fancy equipment for this. This video over here on the right, I recorded just with my Mac screen recording tool, and then I uploaded it into Content Lab to add my captions. Next is the man or woman on the street interview style. So this is going when, and this works well if you're at a live event. So that's the example I'm using. Go to a in-person live event, offer a few topics to people you're interviewing. For instance, when we did this, they could choose from marketing tips and trends, predictions, AI, or video marketing. So ask them 2 to 4 questions in the topic they select. And then you can use that across Reels, Shorts, TikTok, and more. And then if you know your campaign, you can align it so it's going to work with your campaign or whatever campaigns you're running. And a pro tip here, record these horizontally so then your editor can crop them into vertical. Because if you film in vertical, it's going to be a lot harder to go into horizontal from vertical, but horizontal to vertical is really easy. Next is product release hype. So if you don't have a video team, this one you might need to outsource someone from Fiverr or something like that. But consider doing a product release video that combines product videos and animations to build some hype, especially if it is a campaign that directly correlates back to your product. And for this one, consider creating a longer video, so maybe 60 seconds, that you can then chop and crop into shortened versions, like a 45, 30, and or 15-second. This is great to do if you're considering doing something like a YouTube pre-roll, you're doing any video ads, things like that, where they have strict stipulations on the time period. Next is employee user generated content. So remember, I talked about finding the employees who are comfortable on video, who create video natively themselves and get them involved. So think about some content that might relate to the campaign you're running, might be catchy and intriguing, and then ask your employees to film short little snippets that you can then use both as a solo video of just them and then also interweaving into a clip like this that pulls in a bunch of people. So this is a great way, again, to make your brand more authentic through video because you're focusing and featuring on your employees, real people at your org. But it also is a great way to get in front of new audiences because these employees are likely to share it to their own audiences. Next is event promos. If you're running an event, a virtual summit, a webinar, anything like that, that ties into your campaign, then consider creating a promo video. Again, this is one that you might need to outsource if you don't have video resources in-house. But one thing that's nice to do, and a pro tip from me, if you are doing a majority of this in-house or all of it in-house, is lean on AI. So this view at the right is from our content resurrection event. Again, it was a spooky Halloween themed event. And what I did is I went into Chat GPT. We have an instance we've built that aligns with our brand voice and tone. And I uploaded my registration page copy, my email invite copy, and then a prompt about the type and style of video I wanted. In this instance, it was I wanted a video that was like a scary movie trailer. And I uploaded that all into Chat GPT. It gave me 2 or 3 different script options. And then I just took that, plugged and played, and made my final script for this video. Next is solo thoughts. So this is probably the easiest, the first one you can likely go out and start doing out the door. So either put together a script or you can even just jump on a recording and start filming your thoughts. Pick a topic that aligns into your campaign. Be sure you know what the CTA is to bring people back, but keep it short, simple, and snappy. And some pro things here is don't think you need a crazy setup to do this, right? You can record this on your phone, a built-in recorder like photo booth. That's actually what I use to film this video at the right is just the photo booth that's in my Mac. You can also use a video call recording tool like a Zoom, or you can use a webinar tool like Goldcast. Just create your instance and just don't invite anyone to the recording. Next is product highlights. So this you can either do with your own product, or even if you're doing some kind of review, walkthrough, or commentary on some other company's product, maybe that somehow relates into the campaign you're running, or you can do it on your own, talking about a new feature or functionality that relates into the campaign that you're putting out into market. And my favorite tool for this is a tool called Screen Studio. It makes it quick and easy to record like this at the right that Anon did, and it automatically adds your zooms in, your zooms out. You can also edit it. And it takes me maybe less than 20 minutes to go from recording to final edit and pushing publish. So really love Screen Studio as a tool for that. Next is fun compilation. So identify a singular question that relates into your campaign and then find people to ask. So 3 to 5 people, they can be thought leaders in your industry, employees, customers, anyone who would relate into whatever the campaign is you're running, or influencers, for instance, and then combine those short little snappy answers into one video. Few we've done is what words scream AI to you. That's the one you're seeing at the right. What video trends are you expecting in 2025? And what do you want B2B marketers to stop doing? And one thing that's nice too is you can combine the man or woman on the street style video with this fun compilation style video too. And so you have kind of 2 birds with 1 stone mentality there. And so now let's go into this video distribution play I mentioned earlier that has a 35% conversion rate when we ran this. So, what is the play? The play is to use video content you're already producing to attract attention and send invites over LinkedIn to some kind of upcoming either event or content piece that relates. So, let's say, so the instance I'm using is we had an event series we were running. And in this instance, it's all going to be about using a clip from one of those events in the series to then promote the next upcoming event. And that's my conversion point. But you could really use any existing source video content. So again, past webinars, past virtual events, podcast episodes, any thought leadership conversations you're having for, let's say, blog content, or even a customer interview you've done for a case study or something like that. So you can use a variety of source video content. And it doesn't have to be that you're leading to an event, right? It could be that you have a report you're launching and you interview some thought leaders around a topic that relates to the report. You can snip out some of those clips, share that, and then your CTA is, again, that conversion point. So it could be a guide, an ebook, a newsletter, anything. This instance, it's an event. And so the goal is to get conversions for your core campaign piece. So again, whatever that conversion point is that you are trying to get people back to. And then again, this is that video first distribution play. We're using video to get us in front of audiences and then have that be the opening point to get them to that conversion point. So the benefits of this play are you get to reach new audiences. So the combination and the recipe we've created for this is bound to get you in front of new audiences. It's going to have a mix of using video, tagging, controversy, and hashtags that gets you in front of net new audiences, regardless of how many followers you have on your profile. You also can achieve a high conversion rate because when you use the speed of connecting and the personalized invites in this play, people are more likely to respond and resonate with your message. And then you're also going to build your network. So this play gets you in front of new people, not only from a reach and impression standpoint, because you're using video, and LinkedIn is loving video right now, major impressions from that. But another thing to think about is that these people are likely going to interact, engage on your post, and that gives you a reason to connect with them. So you don't have to feel like you're spamming people. So the steps are to create your video, write your post using my template, and then send out your messages. So step 1, create your video. So first off, let's talk about just a few best practices. Like I said, LinkedIn loves video now, and so do people. So here are a few just tips as you're thinking about finding the right video snippet to use from your existing video content. One thing to note is all my examples in here are going to be horizontal because I did this play before LinkedIn released their video tab, and horizontal was still the preferred kind of video format at the time. But first off, always adding captions. Lionbridge research found that 92% of LinkedIn users keep videos on mute. I'm for sure one of them, never taken it off mute. And also add in your own captions so your video stands out. The LinkedIn auto captions are very boring. They're very plain. So definitely think about using captions that are aligned with your brand and your style. Next, try to get vertical as much as possible. This heightens your chance of getting featured in the video feed. LinkedIn is heavily favoring vertical videos now. They also are the ones who are getting the most impressions. So again, you're going to see my videos are horizontal because this play happened well before the video tab came out. And now if I ran it, it'd probably even be that much more successful. Next is to align your video with your brand for resonance. Again, you want to use video as a way to help people get to know your brand, like your brand, and trust your brand. And to be able to do that at your best capability is to add in your branding. So think logo, colors, your intro and outro, your fonts, and tools like Content Lab can help you do that very easily and very scalable without any video editing tools. And then last, keep the clips short. So your watch length on LinkedIn impacts your reach. So don't push your length too long. And as Josh said, people's attention spans, they're shrinking. So let's talk about what clips work best. So from our testing, we have found that clips that are controversial, surprising, myth busting, talking about going against the status quo, but actually having some results that back that up, things that are research based or have facts and figures from proprietary research or product research, and also things that are talking about results. Those are the clips that are going to stop people, capture their attention, and work best. And so I talked about how we want to do this play with existing content, right? But like, how do you identify your right clip without having to rewatch the 30, 45 minutes, 60 minutes of that content? Well, use AI. You can probably use a variety of AI tools to do this kind of play. But for me, I'm going to be using Goldcast Content Lab. All you would need to do is upload your source video content into Content Lab and use one of these two prompts. One is identify the 3 most controversial points made during the webinar. And my pro tip is to define what you define as controversial, because that's going to be different across brands. Your risk tolerance is going to be different. So define that. So here I say where my speaker may say something is a myth, go against common knowledge, or mention that something is wrong. The other prompt you can use is identify the 3 most surprising points made during the webinar. I define surprising as fun facts are not well known, new data, yada, yada. You can define it as you see fit. What's going to happen in Content Lab, it's going to pull the clips that best align with the prompt you talked about. And there you go. You've identified a great clip to use to align with your campaign out in the market without rewatching any of the video. It's excellent. So next, what you're going to do is you're going to write your LinkedIn post. And I have a template I'll share. You'll be getting the link to this deck so you can actually copy and paste it and steal them from me. The recipe for this is to use something controversial. Again, you want to stop the scroll. Find myths, hot takes, contrarian opinions, little known facts, anything that will work with the topic that aligns with your overarching campaign. Next, you want to tag the speaker and attendees. Again, if you're pulling this from a webinar or an event, definitely tag the speaker in the video as well as any attendees to encourage social proof. If you're doing a podcast or something like that, tag obviously the person in the video, maybe anyone else who's been a past guest, asking them for their thoughts or opinions on it too. And then also encourage comments. So ask a question or solicit thoughts on the video so people engage in the comments. So post templates I'm sharing with you today. One is a should you. So should you X or Y? Survey says Y. So this is when you find a myth that your guest has busted, or something that is against the grain, or like people always expect to do this, but actually you should be doing that. So this is a great way to get people to stop and be like, oh, wow, I'm actually doing that wrong, or oh, I should be doing this. Great way to get them to stop, engage, watch the quick short tip that relates to that topic, and then you intertwine the rest of the things they'll get from that content piece you're pushing them to. Next is wrong. Kind of a similar thing of what is the common misconception in the market that people believe is true, and then going out and just saying wrong, highlighting a video clip that talks about this from the speaker's perspective, and then talking about how you can learn even more by either downloading a report, joining our next event, whatever that conversion point is. Next is to send your invites through LinkedIn messaging. So what should happen with this play is you should start getting comments like this. People are asking to attend, give me the report, raising my hand, whatever your kind of CTA was to get that conversion point. So time is the essence here. You want to reply to each comment very, very quickly. That keeps you top of mind with them. It also helps continuing to build impressions on your post. Next is to connect with every commenter quickly within like the first 2 or 3 hours after they've commented. This will help you stay on top of mind, and it will also allow you to get direct access to them. If you don't have LinkedIn Premium, just reply in the comment and say, hey, can you connect with me? And then I can send you a message about it. And then the personalized messages. So take time to personalize the message so it sounds like you are actually outreaching directly to that person and it's not just a mass kind of spam outreach. Here's sample message copy. Hey, blank, glad you found the tip I shared helpful. Add in any of that personalization. Here's an invite to our next either event, or here's the link to our report that dives in more. Here's where you can sign up for our newsletter to get these tips all the time, whatever that conversion point is in your campaign. And then one thing too, if you're doing an event, definitely be like, hey, come live and you can ask your questions. And then let's talk about results here. So this LinkedIn post we used this strategy for resulted in 17,000 impressions and 7 reposts. And I will note too, this was before the video tab. So nowadays, this would probably be 3 or 4 times those results if done right. We got 70 original comments, and that meant that I then outreached to each of those people and invited them to the next upcoming event. Again, that can be your next newsletter, like sign up for a newsletter to get more of these tips. It could be a research report, it could be anything that would be a conversion point that you can lead back to for your campaign. And then what ended up happening is 25 people that I reached out to registered for the event, which is a 35% conversion rate. And to level set on this, this was ran on my account. I had just under 5,000 followers at the time, and I post about 3 times a week. So this is really showing the power of using a video first distribution strategy because you have so much video content probably already. So even though a lot of this presentation was about net new content you can craft with video as the channel, there's also a lot of video you can repurpose. So don't think when you're thinking video strategy, it has to be net new, net new, net new, right? You can go back to the videos you likely already have, find tools like Goldcast Content Lab to help you repurpose that and reformat it to work in the new campaigns you're running. Because there's never going to be a day when we don't run new campaigns, right? But that doesn't mean you necessarily need to craft new videos because this whole play is based on a video that already existed. And I can likely go back to Mark's webinar series he did with us and clip that into any campaigns that are about social media, about LinkedIn, about video. There's so many different campaigns that I can continue to reuse that video content with. So that does conclude my presentation. Thank you so much for spending time with me this morning and kicking off the second day of Full Circle with me. I really appreciate it. If you want to connect with me, you can find me over on LinkedIn. I'm going to go through the chat real quick and just see if there are any questions over here. Oh, does the script idea work? Oh, I heard something.
Yeah,
Oh.
we had one here, Lindsay, from Adesh. What are the tools you suggest to save bandwidth and resource to the team, but not compromise on quality? So Goldcast looks amazing at helping you do that. Is there anything else that you suggest as well?
Yeah, when it comes to the video and it's a video creation editing, that's the question, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I would say you don't need things that are complicated, right? So think about the things that are built for like TikTok, for instance. So think about like the cat cuts or the Opus clips, tools like that are super easy to pick up and use quickly. And also don't sleep on the tools that you might have on your computer. You heard me mention, like I do a lot of my video editing actually on my computer using like QuickTime, right? So don't sleep on what might already be accessible for you.
Awesome. One more question before we wrap things up. How important do you find it is to add B-roll and graphics across your videos to kind of maintain engagement?
That is an excellent question. I don't think it's an always or never, or it's not like a black and white answer, right? It depends on your brand and your audience, of course. But I think it depends on the length of your video, right? If it's a under 1 minute video, it's not as important, I think, to have those things because it's short, it's concise, hopefully it's snappy, it can keep engagement. But if you're getting into that like 2 to 3 minute length, then I think that's when it's really important to think about either animations, transitions, B-roll, mixing and matching. And it doesn't even have to be things like that. Even if you can integrate, again, 2 or 3 speakers or do some transitions between sections, even having title changes. Our customer story videos are a good example of that style. If you want to go to our website, check those out because they're usually 2 to 3 minutes, have transition slides, have a few animations just to break it up from a single head kind of talking on screen because that's not very engaging at that 2+ minute timeline.
Fantastic, Lindsay. That was phenomenal. That was so practical. I think there are so many good takeaways for everyone. Video absolutely builds relationships. It's how we discovered Lindsay. It's how I knew she would be so fantastic here today. And you absolutely nailed it. Thank you so much for your time, Lindsay. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, everyone. Well, coming up next, we're going to be talking to Justin Rowe and Rohit Srivatsav about thought leadership horror stories. So stay tuned. We're going to get started very shortly. You don't need to get out of this meeting at all, out of this session. I'm going to end this session now, and the next one will start very shortly. Catch you there.